Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the 7th draw of the 3rd U-18 Canadian National Championships here at the Glen Allen Recreation Complex in beautiful Sherwood Park, Alberta. My name is Mick Lismore, and I'm pleased to be joined in the booth here by two-time Brier runner-up, also known as Mr. Biceps, Mr. Bradley Thiessen. Hello, Brad.
Hi, Mick. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Glad to have you here. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are competing this week on traditional lands of the Treaty 6 Nations, including the Blackfoot, Cree, Dene, Gros Ventre, Métis, Nakota Sioux, and Saulteaux peoples. Indigenous people were joined by settlers and pioneers who together built this great community of Strathcona County. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of this evening's games. Today on Sheet A, we have a boys' game between Manitoba and Nova Scotia host. On Sheet B, we have a girls' game between Manitoba and Newfoundland and Labrador. On Sheet C, another girls' game. Nova Scotia is playing our feature game against our Alberta hosts. And we'll come back to that and give you an update on their records and where they're at in the tournament moving forward. On Sheet D, we have Quebec and British Columbia playing in a boys' game. Sheet E, we have Northern Ontario versus Ontario boys game. On Sheet F, we have a girls game, Saskatchewan versus Yukon. On Sheet G, Alberta boys are playing Prince Edward Island boys. On Sheet H, Alberta is playing Northwest Territories in a girls game. And on Sheet I, we have Nova Scotia versus Newfoundland and Labrador. So a couple really interesting matchups here moving forward, Brad.
Yeah, for sure.
So coming back to our feature sheet, Nova Scotia against the Alberta hosts. Nova Scotia enters the game with a 2-2 record with a good shot at reaching the playoffs, I would think.
Yeah, I think so.
And then the Alberta host has played one less game. They are currently sitting at 2-1. So definitely a game here on Sheet C with lots of playoff implications. Should be very exciting to watch. So as we settle into this game, Brad, maybe we can talk a little bit about the two teams that we're seeing face off against each other and what they've done so far this year.
For sure.
So for Team Alberta, the last event they would have played in, I believe, was the Canada Winter Games?
Yes, the Canada Winter Games. Actually, both these teams played in that event. And Alberta actually played in Nova Scotia and beat them in the round robin. But I believe they failed to medal at this event.
Yeah, so these two teams met in the round robin, and I think it was an 8-2 victory for Alberta over Nova Scotia.
Yes.
So very rare that you'd see teams from across the country get to play each other more than once in a year at two different events.
For sure, and at this level as well, it's a cool opportunity for both teams to get this experience at this level.
And then heading into the playoffs of that event, I believe Alberta lost the quarterfinals to New Brunswick, who later lost the bronze medal match to Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
That's correct?
Yeah. Sorry, I can't hear you. Okay. Take a look at the last first draw.
The pictures that you're being shown now are the draws for hammer by both Nova Scotia and Alberta. It looks like Nova Scotia here was able to hit the 4-foot twice, almost the exact same shot. It looks like they took the same line there, Brad.
Probably took the same line, and they knew the path, so why change the broom? Because if you change the broom, you might get in a new path and maybe not even hit the house. That's
great advice for our viewers listening.
Yeah.
And then it looked like Alberta on their last stone draw was a little bit light on the skip stroke by Julia. And then they put the next one on the button. So it would have been a pretty close measurement, I would think.
Yeah.
So our first stone being thrown here by Juliana McKenzie, the lead for Team Alberta. Let's see where it ends up here. Brad, I know we just arrived here and we've just got a sense of things as far as the facility and the ice. First impressions, any thoughts?
Well, I mean, ice looks beautiful. Looks like there's a lot of curl on the ice, which is always good. Crowd looks good. Like, really, it looks like an amazing event.
Yeah, I love the flags they've got hanging up around this arena. They've got the nice blue traditional to our national events, and it's really great to see. A really great experience, I think, for a lot of these young players getting to play in a national championship like this.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that I wish I had when I was this age.
A nice hit and roll there by our lead from Team Nova Scotia, Kate Fitzgerald. And we're on to our second leads rocks here. Looks like a hit and stick being called by Julia Bakos here. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what Nova Scotia's next call is, whether they decide to play the corner, the delayed corner, or whether they just decide to hit this end out.
Looks to me like this rock is coming in. The sweepers are working pretty hard on it, and it looks like it just overcurled and just ticked that rock to the edge of the 12-foot. Early in a game, Brad, any thoughts on approaches to hits, especially takeouts, as you get further out into the sheet? Any thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially early in the game, you want to keep the weight up, and because you never know what part of the ice you might catch, so it's better just keep the weight up, and it'll run nice and straight that way. And
I couldn't agree more. Definitely something that players get caught on a lot. I think the pebble's a little bit sharp. The rocks grab a little bit more the first time down a path, and that's what you'll see on those kind of hits.
I think that's just something you learn from experience.
Absolutely. So Nova Scotia looked like they were trying to split the house and just came up just shy of the house there. So looks like Alberta's going to try to get at this rock over there on the edge of the 12-foot again, but they're taking a different turn.
Yeah.
Kim Bonneau here, the second for Team Alberta. So this Alberta team, when I said that was the last event they played in as far as the Canada Winter Games, I was incorrect. They would have played in the playdowns to get to this event, I believe, after that. So this Alberta team actually lost the provincial final to another Alberta team.
Yeah.
But because of some teams from around the country not being able to send a representative, another spot is granted, and also I believe there might be a host spot at this event. So great for Alberta that they have two teams in this event, get a few more athletes to get such a great experience like this.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So our Nova Scotia second here is Cassidy Curry, and she's trying to make a come around that corner guard. So I neglected to inform our audience that we saw a missed takeout. I believe it was on the overcurl again.
Yes.
On the wing there. So
the other turn this time, though. Yeah.
So hopefully for Alberta, they're able to make the adjustment. Kim Bonneau here with her second stone.
Yeah. Interesting that they're going for the rock on the right there.
What would your other thought process here?
My other thought would have been to try and maybe play the short run back, and if you just peel it away, then you have a double at least to roll over there.
Okay.
The way it is now, it's likely that if things keep going the way they are, it's a deuce for Nova Scotia.
Mm-hmm. So taking that early chance to try to run a guard back might open things up a little bit, and then hopefully
you have the rest of the end to make one double. One or maybe two doubles if you miss the run.
So it looks like Nova Scotia here has got things set up pretty well for themselves early on in this end. We thought maybe now will be a good time as we move into third rocks to talk about some keys to the game, Brad.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Do you have any thoughts for, let's start with Nova Scotia.
Okay, well, for Nova Scotia, so the last time these two teams meet, it looks like Alberta had a big end against these guys. So maybe for Nova Scotia, if they, for them, just keep it clean and try and keep the game a little bit more simple.
Okay, so not allowing too many rocks in play might be a big benefit for Nova Scotia. As we see Quinn Perdaniuk, third for Alberta, hitting and rolling just to the side of the 12-foot, might just be on the rings with her first stone. So now, as we talk about Alberta, thoughts on keys to the game for them?
Well, for them, they're the home team here, so they've got the crowd on their side, and it's a TV game for them. So I think just making sure to keep calm and keep cool under pressure.
Right on. I know this is the second time that this team has played in a national championship in their home province. So very rare to see that. Very, very unique circumstances, Brad, wouldn't you say?
I would say that.
So our the third here for Team Nova Scotia, Taylor Stevens, drawing to split the rings. I believe that rock is just going to slip through. So Julia Bakos here calling the short run back for Quinn Berdaniak. Looks like a firm weight takeout as it heads towards the house, and it looks like to be a little wide. Just going to roll off into the boards there. Taylor Stevens is going to look to make an adjustment here off of her first draw.
Yep. Luckily, she gets the same shot again, so
Brad,
bit of redemption here.
Your approach on this shot, if you've probably thrown a few through in your day, I think.
A couple, yeah,
okay,
once in a while.
What's your adjustment if you're throwing the same shot a second time?
Well, if I just threw it and I was heavy, then obviously on the next one, my adjustment will be to throw less.
Okay. Do you think that path that's just been thrown down might even be faster than
that? Yeah, it will be for sure. And, you can definitely give it to the sweepers, especially early in the game when sweeping is a little bit more effective.
And certainly looking around, and I speak for our sheet, but I speak for most of the sheets, a lot of these young athletes seem to be quite strong and very proficient sweepers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so one of the things that took a while for me to learn is just learning to give the rock to the sweepers.
Yeah, be patient and trusting your teammates to some degree. Awesome.
Yeah, trusting your sweepers to make the shot for you, not trying to make it yourself.
So we have Julia Bakos here settling into the hack for her first skip stone in our tie game here. 0-0 in the first end. That's a pretty easy one to call.
Yeah.
What do you think she's looking to do here, Brad? Is she looking to hit and stick, or maybe hit and roll towards the other rock on the other side?
Yeah, ideally she'd make the roll over, so that way it makes the double on her next one a little bit easier.
So trying to set up a potential angle.
Yeah, but you also make sure you don't want to jam this on the back one either.
Coming in, sweepers are working quite hard on it, and just get it out of the rings. Excellent job by a couple of powerful sweepers there for Alberta. So maybe a situation where you're trying so hard for the roll that you just about roll out, just about miss the rock as you
almost
curl there. Our skip here, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right for our viewers back in Nova Scotia, is Callie Moore. If I'm wrong, that'll be unfortunate for the rest of the game. But Callie Moore here settling in for her first stone. Callie trying to split the rings again, replacing that rock that was thrown by her third, Taylor Stevens. Looks to be tracking along a similar path, but looks like they've got to go on this one.
Yeah, got to go a bit here to get her in.
Got to. And a great sweep.
Nice shot. Nice shot
by Team Nova Scotia to get that into the 12-foot. Brad,
they're second, eh? Yeah.
Oh, that back one in the rings. That's a good point. So it wasn't about just getting into the rings. It was about getting it in for second shot.
Yeah.
Julia here on her last rock. Looks like she's chosen to hit the other rock, the shot rock. Any thoughts or explanation as to why she would have chosen that, Brett?
I mean, if you're going to hit the rock, you might as well hit the one that shot. So on the next shot, Nova Scotia at least has to try and make something a little bit more difficult instead of just an open draw.
So making Nova Scotia throw a different type of shot on the next
exactly.
one would help them
Like
in this situation.
In this case, they might have to throw a hit, and they've been drawing the whole end. So, yeah, making them hit would increase the likelihood that Nova Scotia could miss.
Alberta here with the just inside nose hit, rolling to the 8-foot to sit for shot rock. Just a slight miscue early in this end by Alberta. Looks like it's led to an opportunity for a deuce, a 2 for Nova Scotia as Callie Moore heads down for her final stone of this first end.
Well played by Nova Scotia.
I know at any level it's really difficult to kind of have that deuce, that 2 set up early and to maintain.
And to hold it throughout the whole end, yeah.
So a wonderful job here by Nova Scotia to put their skip in the position to seal the deal here with a 2 in this first end.
I think they have to be careful of the jam, but that's about it. They don't have to worry about otherwise. They don't have to worry about too much here.
We've got one sweeper working on this.
Yeah.
Looks like it's taking some curl. Gonna hit about a half a stone and just rolls out of the rings as Quinn Perdaniak sweeps it out of the house. Looks like a singleton here in the first for Nova Scotia. 1-0 Nova Scotia after 1.
Yeah. There you go. That worked to Alberta's advantage there, forcing Nova Scotia to hit their rock.
It's like you had.
And they got the mistake, and
you could see into the future there, Bradley.
Yeah.
You said so we get into our second end of play. Nova Scotia without the hammer after scoring 1 in the first. Looks to be throwing a top 4 draw. If you're Nova Scotia, Brad, in this end, what do you think you're going to try to get out of it after a last rock missed by your skip there?
Well, ideally, you would force Alberta back so you can keep the hammer in the basically just want to keep the hammer. But yeah, so ideally you'd force them, but a blank also would play here.
So Alberta coming down with their first lead stone, looking to try to hit and roll to the side. Team with hammer here trying to spread play out to the sides a little bit as they throw their lead stones. And that's another out turn draw for Kim there that looks to have overcurled just a little bit. Any thoughts?
Yeah, Alberta's been struggling a bit with the hits here this game so far, and they've been overcurling on, I think, all of them.
So if you're playing in this game, Brad, or if you were to advise a young player playing in this game what to do in response to that, would it be to move the broom? Would it be to throw the rock differently? What are your thoughts on how to make an adjustment there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways you could do it. I mean, the way that we've traditionally done it is we'll just throw a little bit more weight just to make the rock run a little bit straighter. We generally don't like to take too much ice on hits. So in this case, we'd probably just up our weight a little bit and the rock runs straighter and we can keep the broom in the same spot.
So Nova Scotia coming in with their lead second rock, going into the top 12-foot. Nice weight control from our Nova Scotia team here. The response from Julia here is to throw a corner guard. Any thoughts as to why she would throw a corner guard on her second leads rock but not her first one?
Well, I think they were planning to make that hit and roll on the first shot, but they didn't make that. So they wanted to make sure they at least they have some offense this end still. So they're just going with the delayed corner, which is still a good play.
So hitting that first rock in the end of the end ensures that you're not going to end up with too much of your opponent rocks in the middle that don't have hammer.
Yeah.
But allow you to kind of spread play out moving forward in the end.
It'll help keep the end a little bit more open.
Nice corner guard thrown by the Alberta lead, Juliana McKenzie. And Nova Scotia trying to throw a center guard, I believe, on this one.
No, I believe they called the tap.
Oh, thank you.
But they're a little tight.
Slightly over curled, but it's going to make its way into the rings here. It looks like might be deep.
A little heavy.
Just will hold on into the back 12 foot there. So Nova Scotia sitting 2. So Brad, looks like both of these teams with a fair bit of provincial and national experience between mixed doubles competitions, mixed provincials, U-18 provincial championships, U-18 nationals, obviously.
Canada Winter Games.
So despite their young age, a relatively experienced group of athletes we have on this sheet here today, I would say. Alberta hitting and rolling to the outside, looking to sit shot just right in front of the red Nova Scotia stone. Nova Scotia looking to hit, and I believe roll back towards the middle, trying to avoid that jam at the back of the rings, and well executed.
Nice shot
By Nova Scotia.
Alberta trying to make the roll again.
Brad, what do you think Alberta's best chance of scoring a deuce in this end is going to be? What would your plan of attack be for them if you were in their shoes?
Well, I don't mind this call right now. I mean, it's a little more defensive. The other option that they could play is just the straight draw around the corner. I mean, right now, both those two Nova Scotia rocks are not too dangerous. So it wouldn't be a bad play to just ignore them and draw right around. But, I mean, if you're going to make the roll perfectly like this, that's probably the call.
Wonderful shot there by Alberta second. Kim Bonneau. Wonderful shot. Hitting and rolling over behind that corner guard, and it looks like they just jammed on the back one. So Alberta sitting shot rock behind the corner, but still a pesky red rock back there for Nova Scotia sitting second rock. Nova Scotia looking here to draw around the corner guard to freeze on the yellow rock behind the tee line. So Brad, as the team without the hammer, is this a good situation then for Nova Scotia? What are your thoughts here?
It's not ideal. Generally, I don't like drawing around the corner when you don't have hammer. Because best case scenario, you're just going to force the other team to draw the forefoot for one.
But if it's a well-made shot like that, then you might just take it. So a nice come-around draw, frozen
Very
onto
nice shot.
That yellow stone. Alberta here looking.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Alberta,
go ahead, Brad.
sorry. I was just going to say Alberta's got a nice setup here, low-risk end. Drawing around the corner. Worst case scenario, they should just have a draw of the forefoot for one. So it's a good situation for them right now.
So far, Brad, what we've seen in these first two ends, a really, really well executed series of shots from both teams. Slight errors leading to opportunities for the other teams. Quinn Perdaniak here with a little tap and chap, I would say, a little chap and lie.
Yeah, nice shot.
Sitting, it looks to be shot rock right in front of that red stone. Sitting 1 and 3. So Team Nova Scotia third, I believe here, Taylor Stevens, going to come down and have a quick chat with her skip. Maybe try to sort out how to get through this puzzle that Alberta has presented them.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. Looks like they're thinking of playing a back line weight type shot here, eh?
A little
and just tapping the yellow-red combo, maybe trying to unlock that red, the yellow, stay frozen on top.
Yeah, so just trying to realign those rocks there on the edge of the 8-foot to try, or sitting in the 8-foot on the right-hand side there to try to make better angles for themselves.
Yeah.
Brad, as we watch this awesome event unfold in front of us here, one of the questions I would have for you, having a fair bit of experience in big games in arena, is what are the differences, the main differences that you find playing in events that are hosted in arenas on arena ice?
The main differences, I guess, for me, I often find generally the ice is always good at events in an arena. You always get a top quality ice maker, and the rocks are always curling, and speed's always good. So I think, I mean, for me, it's just getting used to the difference in curl and compared to clubs.
So how the sharpness of the rocks and the amount of curl that you see as the rocks travel down the ice is just a bit more than you would necessarily see in most clubs?
Yeah, especially what probably a lot of these juniors are used to, having played in clubs for most of their curling careers.
So what a wonderful opportunity for these young athletes to get out here on this surface. So as we provide you a little bit of an update here in this end, we saw a little tap freeze for Nova Scotia, followed by a hit and roll by Quinn Prodanek from Alberta there. Alberta looks to be sitting shot rock, and I believe if I had to guess, it looks to me like Nova Scotia sitting second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But a few number of rocks in play. So the key to the game that you had mentioned earlier for Nova Scotia, keeping things relatively clean, I think this is a nice decision by Nova Scotia to play what looks to be a hit in this scenario.
Yeah. Ideally, nose would be really good here.
So a nose double you're suggesting? Try to remove both of those yellow stones?
Yeah, try and remove both and sit your shooter top 12 there. Top 8, top 12.
So a little bit of danger lurking here for Nova Scotia, trying to clean things up a little bit here.
Yeah, tough shot. It's curling quite a bit.
Just a over curl onto the corner guard.
Yeah.
As Callie Moore heads back to the house to plan for her next one here. Julia Bakos for Alberta planning out to, looks like they're calling a come around.
Looks like it,
Draw to the middle somewhere.
Yep, they also had thought of hitting their yellow that was frozen to the red there to lie 4.
That's one of the things I think you see as these players get more experience on this surface and in these conditions, just different scenarios and how to respond when rocks are positioned as they are. Mm-hmm. So in this case, surely you could hit and sit 4, but any thought as to why she's calling the come around?
I think if she's afraid that if she doesn't, then Nova Scotia will. And if Nova Scotia makes it perfect, Alberta won't have much after that.
Looks like this in-turn from Julia is over curling and maybe just slightly light. And just taps that red just shy of the house. So in watching these two teams for the first few ends, the misses that we've seen have mostly been on the over curl.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I've been actually watching all week, and it seems like that's been the general trend. the misses have been on the over curl.
So as Skip Callie Moore heads down for her final stone of this second end with a 1-point lead. She's looking to, I should think, draw around these center 2 rocks and put herself in a position where she might be able to force Alberta to that one that we had talked about earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
See Callie's rock coming down the ice. Sweepers are working on it.
Looks a little light.
Going to have to work on this one. Just came up shy of the rings. And so the shot that you talked about earlier that they had resisted the temptation to play for Julia is now there. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what they're playing.
So as we watch this shot, Brad, and in thinking back to the way this game has started, any suggestions for how maybe to approach this specific shot here? What do you think Julia's mindset is heading into this one?
Well, she's seen rocks over curl consistently, so I think, I mean, for her, just make sure she gives it the hit enough weight, and just she knows it's going to curl. She just has to believe it.
Julia steps up the weight here. It looks to be a little bit wide as it comes in. With that weight, is it going to grab the curl?
I don't think so.
Might have just missed it, and looks like just a single there for Team Alberta. A missed opportunity for sure in this scenario. So, Brad, it looks like Julia heeded your advice.
Yeah, maybe too much.
And then maybe too much.
Yeah.
Took a little bit more ice, but also up the weight.
With that said, though, that's still the miss. If she overcurls there and takes out her own, it's a steal. So
certainly a good decision on her part to approach that shot that way. So we have a 1-1 score after 2 ends of play between our Alberta host team and Nova Scotia. Juliana McKenzie settling in here for her first stone of the third end. Brad, as we watch these U-18 athletes competing here over the first few ends, and as you look around, any thoughts as far as fundamentals and the things you're seeing so far?
Yeah, so from what I've seen, technically, they're all actually like very, they're all very technical.
But technically sound players across the board.
They're all technically sound. That's what I was trying to say.
Thank you, Brad.
It's actually pretty cool to see. It seems like they're all a lot better than we were at our age, at the same age they are now.
Certainly, and I know a lot of the coaches here across the board that are just sitting in front of us, observing and helping provide some advice to the players, work really hard with these athletes as long as the ice is in at their clubs, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the unique additions at this event that I don't think we've seen as much at the U-18s and junior championships is that coaches are actually invited to and encouraged to talk to their players in between ends just for about 30 seconds if they want to pass any information on. What are your thoughts on that? And any comparison that you might see to national or Grand Slam events that you play in and what the experience is there? I know you guys don't have a coach, but other teams certainly do.
No, I like that. I like that idea. I mean, in most other sports, you can talk to the coach at any point of the game. So I don't know why, really, why should curling be any different? So I like that idea of being able to talk to the coach at during the end breaks.
So as we update you here on the action in the third end, Nova Scotia throwing their second lead stone. Kate Fitzgerald trying to, looks like she's coming around that corner guard and just slipping behind the tee line to sit 2. Looks like Julia's finding out that that rock's about a third exposed on the outside. Kim Bonneau being called upon to play the nose hit on the middle rock. Rock is
going for the audible now.
A little wide, trying to play the slash double. Just sneaks by it and rolls out of the rings. Nice catch on that one, Brad. So do you think in that scenario that Julia Bakos might have had a plan B in her mind based on where the rock was thrown by her second?
Yeah, for sure. I think, she called that with that plan B in mind.
Cassidy Curry here with her second stone, trying to stack another rock in behind our corner guard that we see up front there. And weight looks pretty close. Sweepers are kind of off and on it. It's going to drift just into the top of the 4-foot type depth. Nova Scotia sitting 2, putting a little bit of pressure on Alberta here in the third end.
Yeah. Very nice shot.
Nova Scotia, after kind of catching a little bit of a break on Julia's last end, taking advantage and applying a bit of pressure heading into this end. Kim Bonneau here being called upon to attempt the in-turn run back.
Looks a little tight. Just getting the straight peel.
Going to just straight peel it.
It's not a bad result.
Important to get that rock out of the way of those back 2 so that you have access to them, or potential access to them moving forward, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brad, I don't want to spend too much time talking about you or us, but one of the things I wanted to ask you was how youth curling and sort of junior curling led to your career in men's curling, because I know you've kind of probably played with just the one teammate for a long time. So a lot of these players out here playing with current teammates, you never know, you might end up playing with them in a Scotties or Brier. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, for me, I guess I ended up getting pretty lucky. The first time I really ever stepped on the ice, I ended up curling with Brendan, and we've been curling together ever since, and we've been able to curl through juveniles and juniors, and we've just put in the work over the years and slowly gotten better each year, and it's led to where we are now, and I just feel really lucky to have been able to do all this.
And it's been great to see your progression throughout the years. I know you have worked very hard. I saw it firsthand. And to see a lot of these athletes playing together, and I know how hard they work both on and off of the ice, it's definitely something to kind of look at. You're a great example for them and where they could end up in a few years' time. Probably even sooner than you got there, I would think.
Probably, yeah. Hopefully it doesn't take them as long as it did for me.
So Nova Scotia third here. Taylor Stevens trying to play the guard on the red stone. Looks like it might have just undercurled.
Yeah, left the rock open. Potential double and roll here.
So this would be a great example of a shot, Brad, that might flip an end. Nova Scotia stacking on a bit of pressure onto Alberta, and all of a sudden we have an opportunity, a slight window for Alberta to
you got to take advantage of these shots for sure.
Quinn Perdaniak looks to be quite close to
real
this one.
Close,
Needs
real
to
close.
curl up a little bit. Just gets by the guard, and nice hit and roll. Didn't quite remove that back stone from play, but the shooter rock rolling in behind that off-center guard to sit shot rock top four. Very nice shot by Quinn.
Very nice, beautiful.
So
couldn't make it much better.
Callie Moore here noticing a little bit of danger. A rock buried in the middle is calling upon third Taylor Stevens to play the run back. Sweepers are holding up on this one.
It's close. Close.
Bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. Nice shot by
Beautiful.
Taylor Stevens as she makes the run back. Sitting shot rock back 12 foot on the side.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that before.
Thank you, yes. Just came into my mind, so I thought I would share it. So a couple of dandy shots here by both the Alberta and Nova Scotia team. Wonderful to see. That answer was important for Nova Scotia there as they look towards what could be a blank end or perhaps a late two opportunity here for Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
As Alberta throws this out-turn hit, Julia Bakos calling upon her sweepers. Quinn calling them off.
Looks like a good shot.
And a nose hit is made by Julia.
Now, does Nova Scotia decide to ignore that and draw around? Or it looks like, I guess, they're going to hit it. Your thoughts here, Brad? I don't mind the straight draw around the guard. I mean, it's a good opportunity. It's your guard, so you don't have to worry about them running it back and sticking it. And yeah, I mean, I think we would go for it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, third end, a blank end plays pretty well here for Nova Scotia. I wonder what Alberta's response will be if they hit this open one.
Yeah.
Will they hit it back and play along and sort of allow for a free look at a blank end, or will they come around and try to
maybe try and
put
force
some late pressure?
Yeah.
The way the ice has been curling and how draws appear to be difficult out here. Might be a difficult one to make as the hit and roll just to the back of the rings. I can't tell if that's on, and it's out. As that in turn from the skip of Nova Scotia under curls. Did I say under curls or over curls? I meant to say over curls.
Yeah.
Over curls and rolls just out of the rings.
That gives Alberta the free draw around.
So an opportunity to perhaps put some pressure on here for a force of Nova Scotia. As Julia Bakos settles into the hack. Julia's draw coming into the rings here. Looks to have a little bit of extra weight on it. It's going to over curl the guard and come out into the open. I think that's about edge to edge for Team Nova Scotia, and it looks like they're calling for the blank end, the peel out here. These are the kinds of shots in games where, although you might be pretty used to playing them and they seem pretty straightforward, they're so important to take care of.
Very important, yeah. Yeah, you don't want to relax and lose focus on these shots.
So that would speak to the importance for these athletes to have developed a pre-shot routine, some things that they do every time before their shots to ensure that they're comfortable and confident heading in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you would know. You're the sports psychologist. Oh,
so
over curls.
Just over curls and looks to
have
clipped the guard.
Yeah.
As we see it come into play here.
Yeah, it looks like she's been struggling a bit with intern hits this game.
So we have a 2-1 lead for Alberta over Nova Scotia here, heading into the fourth end after a bit of a surprise steal by Alberta.
Yeah, they skipped specifically.
As Alberta settles in for their first rock of this fourth end. This game, Brad, still very much up for grabs as these teams are playing quite a tight battle here, would you say?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a good close game. Lots of exciting shots.
So Alberta's first rock here by Juliana McKenzie, just drifting into the rings, just sitting into the top of the 12-foot. So I know a few player changes for this Alberta team since the Canada Winter Games. They had two different lineups this year, Brad. Actually, Heather Nedewin, the organizer of this event, her daughter was playing with this team. She's only 13 years old, but she was playing with this team at the Canada Winter Games.
Okay.
So that was a plan heading into the year, I think, by the team to have a few different lineups based on age limitations, I think. But wonderful to see a number of these players get an opportunity to be a part of this. Alberta and Nova Scotia here trading stones in the top of the house. Nova Scotia lead here. Kate Fitzgerald playing the intern hit. Looks like we're getting a little bit of a reprieve from all of the action of the first few ends here, Brad, with some hits back and forth.
Just a nice clean end.
I should think, based on the scoreboard, that Alberta's okay with kind of standing pat here, blanking an end or two.
Yeah, I
perhaps.
think so. I think Alberta's definitely okay with that.
And Nova Scotia, do you think here in this situation might at some point try to levy a little bit of pressure upon their opponents? And
I don't know. I think in this end, they're just looks like they're just looking to kind of hit it out and maybe start up again next end.
As we head into the middle part of this week, the playoffs going on this weekend, I see definitely a few more fans in the crowd. Things are getting a little bit louder here. something unique to experience for everyone here. Looks to be a very big contingent of fans from, I don't know what team that would be. Northern Ontario colors?
Those are Northern Ontario colors, yeah.
But
I don't know if I've heard the Moose call yet, though.
On Sheedy, we have Northern Ontario versus Ontario. So that story checks out. I had a momentary
well, that makes sense.
Lapse in thought there. The Glen Ellen Recreation Center here in Alberta has, in Sherwood Park, Alberta, has just done a magnificent job so far from my impression of running this event. A number of us were lucky enough to get a chance to be a part of the opening ceremonies, and that was quite the impressive show that was put on by Heather Middleton. So we're just getting a look back at a few of the shots here throughout the game. A hit and roll by Julia Bakos that set up that shot in the second end at 2. A few takeouts by the skips. And a draw to the top of the house there. One of the things that we were noticing as we watched the first few ends, if we're looking for trends for players to make some adjustments, was the Nova Scotia skip has had a few intern hits that have overcurled.
Yeah, yeah.
Any thoughts technically for her? Maybe just slightly sliding wide and then turning the rock in a little bit? Was that the impression you're getting?
I think so. It's just looks like, from what I've been able to see, it looks like she's sliding, just a hair wide and kind of turning them in. And on this ice, that's, it's going to be hard to recover from that.
So definitely something to think about. And as you watch a fairly experienced Callie Morse as a skip here, trying to make that adjustment, she's making a good choice there and trying to adjust on her release to turn it in, because she probably feels like she's sliding a bit wide, but maybe just a little bit too over-adjusted. Right?
Yeah,
so
I think so.
Our initial thought might be, oh, she's missing her shots tight, but really it looked like to me like she's sliding wide, and then the release is a response to that.
Maybe
right?
just adjusting too much.
So as you're looking to make some technical adjustments as a player, do you think it's important to start from the hack out, or would you pick one part of a delivery that you would have them suggest that they should be working on more than any other?
Well, I think mid-game it can be hard to, you don't want to just focus on your delivery, and you can kind of almost freeze up a bit and start thinking about it too much. But, really you just want to focus on your pre-shot routine and just focus on having a good, clean release.
Of course, Brad, during the event, you would want to make sure that you're just doing what you need to do to make that shot.
Yeah.
After this event is over, looking back on it, taking a look at maybe some of their percentages that they're getting back from the stats here, that might be the time to take a look and reflect. Would that be a fair comment?
Yeah, absolutely. You always want to, even after every game, you kind of want to review what you did, what shots you were making, maybe review a couple misses and see if there's any trends, and maybe just try and think of how you can adjust for the next game.
Right on. So making slight adjustments to help make the next.
Yeah, absolutely. Next but you also want to make sure you focus on shots that you made as well, and that way you're not just focusing on the negative.
That's great advice, Brad. So as we pick back up into action here, sorry for that brief reprieve, we are into our final thirds stone for Nova Scotia. A made nose hit. It looks to me like that Alberta stone may be in the rings, may not be in the rings.
Yeah, I don't actually know. It's real close, though.
The response from Alberta splitting the rings to the other side might have suggested that it is in the rings, or at least they wanted their opponent to think it's in the rings.
Yeah, I think so. I think no matter what, Alberta's going to try and make them think that it's in the rings if it's out. And yeah, the Nova Scotia skip just took a look at it, and she didn't seem too sure either way.
So Julia Getting set to throw here her first skip stone of the fourth end. Sweeper's on it right out of the hand. In turn hit, just going to just hit the inside and roll to the side 8 foot. Alberta sitting 1, maybe 2, we still don't know. We're on the edge of our seats, just like all of you are back home. So as we look at the...
It looks like Callie didn't even consider looking at that yellow stone, so maybe she thinks it's out. Otherwise, I thought maybe they would have at least considered trying the double, but...
It looks to me like...
It looked like she just went straight for the hit, the open hit.
I think they'd already taken a look at it a shot or two ago and they made up their mind.
Yeah.
But that's right, Brad. They're playing the nose hit here. Really nice weight as it comes in. Sweepers on. Nose hit for Nova Scotia. Nice out-turn hit. Looks to me, Brad, to this point in the game, both teams have actually probably played a few more in-turns than out-turns.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's been intentional or if that is just the way the ends have formed. So Julia Bakos here, 15 years old. Probably one of the younger skips here at this event.
Wow. That's impressive.
She's actually amongst 2 athletes here at this championship that are part of the Green and Gold Athlete Academy run out of the Salvo Community Sports Center through Vimy Ridge and the University of Alberta. It's a unique program that I've been running the last few years with some youth curlers. They get a chance to go to school in the morning and practice and train in the afternoons at the National Training Center, the Salvo Center there in Edmonton. Mm-hmm. Olivia Jones being the other player from Team Alberta on the other Alberta team. Both a part of that program. And I know a number of these other curlers are part of really strong junior programs in both Nova Scotia, I believe at the Mayflower, and across Alberta here. Alberta drawing players from St. Albert, Fort Saskatchewan, Rocky Mountain House, Cochrane, kind of all over the place for them.
Looks like another in-turn hit here. It's over curling again.
So this one seems to be maybe perhaps underthrown a little bit as it over curls. Heading into the rings.
Looks like they're going to call for the biter stick.
Brad, this situation always scares me because people will always go up and try to take a look at this rock to see if it's in. Mm-hmm. One foul step.
Yeah, and
we never
you kick
know.
it and then it's gone.
So they're going to get the official out here to get the...
You just hope it's the other team that does it.
Get the 6-foot biter stick out here to take a look-see to see if that rock is in.
Yeah.
For sure, a steal of 1 here for Alberta will be a 3-1 lead if that's the case, heading into 5. Looking for this second measure here to see if there is going to be another point put up on the board here for Alberta.
Mm-hmm. Big point here.
It's a big difference between a 2-point lead and a 3-point lead, I would think, halfway
huge.
Late into the game here. Just conferring with the thirds. Who are
it's in.
adeptly positioned.
Is it?
I don't know.
I actually don't even know. Just one. Okay, it's out.
Looks like there was just the one scored there by Alberta. That looked like it was awful close. They even tricked you, Brad.
Looked like she was pointing that the rock was in.
So that will be a 3-1 lead for Alberta after 4. Teams heading in here to the break between ends.
Okay.
Welcome back here to the 2019 U-18 Canadian National Championships in a game here between the host Alberta team and Nova Scotia girls. We have a 3-1 lead here for Alberta over Nova Scotia. heading into the fifth end. Brad, a quick snack analysis. It looked like Alberta went with the just straight grape approach.
Yeah, just grapes.
Just grapes, and
Nothing
then
else.
we had Nova Scotia there.
Looks like Nova Scotia had some pretzels.
Some pretzels there. So
they didn't offer us anything,
Brad,
unfortunately.
Brad, a big pretzel fan. We were just doing a little bit of color commentary there on the snacks they were having at the break. Juliana McKenzie settling in here to the hack after catching a bit of a break in the last end. That saw Nova Scotia over curl in their last hit. Alberta looks to be calling this into the top of the house. Just actually had a visit from the ice maker. I believe it's John Wall doing the event here. We had nothing but good things to say to him. Obviously, you can't say anything bad to the ice maker because you never know when you're going to see him next, right?
Yeah.
As he came to update us on the ice, it looks like it's been great. Brad, some draw times that you're seeing?
Yeah, I've been getting some great draw times here. 14.5 to tee. Like, it's, middle 12 to the button. You can't ask for much more than that.
Just ideal conditions here at the Glen Ellen.
Yeah. Looks consistent across the sheet as well. Like, very sweepable ice. Like, it's pretty much perfect conditions.
So, Alberta's rock just slipping through the rings, I believe, on their first attempt there.
Yeah, a little bit heavy.
So the response from Nova Scotia there to throw a corner guard to try to get some offense going. Mm-hmm. Play away from the middle, and Alberta, having no part of that, is going to, it looks, draw to the open side.
Yeah.
Trying to...
It's a good play.
Bring attention away from that corner guard. Sweepers seem to like it. Julia yelling out a 14-7. The weight seems to be good. Well judged by the sweepers as it lands on that 18 of U-18 on the logo there. Nova Scotia recognizing 2-point deficit. Probably time to put a little bit of more pressure on their opponent. A little more offensive strategy we're seeing from them this end.
Yeah, for sure. I think, at this point down to, you need to start putting up a little bit more offense.
So our lead here for Nova Scotia, Kate Fitzgerald, trying to play the come around around that corner guard, and looks like it's a pretty solid shot here. It's going to land on the tee line. Might be shot rock. Pretty close to call at this point. Probably pretty early on to matter, but
yeah,
sitting behind
probably
that
it doesn't matter too much at this point in the end.
So Brad, this is a great example of a situation that wouldn't be the same as it is last year. Perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. 4
rocks in play. Obviously now with the 5 rock rule, Nova Scotia able to hide behind their own guard.
Yeah.
The team without hammer here can't hit that guard, so they're playing that freeze. Any thoughts here on that situation and how the 5 rock rule has affected play to start ends?
Well, for sure. I mean, normally in the 4 rock, you'd just be ripping that corner out, and Nova Scotia would be having a tough time to get to. But now with the 5 rock, Alberta is forced to draw around. And yeah, I mean, as a second, it's actually changed my shots quite a bit, because I used to just kind of be able to go through games just peeling out corners and centers, but now it's changed a lot, and it's become a lot more of a finesse game for the second position. You have a lot more draws around corners or hack weight hits or center guards.
And great evidence of that here for Kim Bonneau having to play that draw instead of playing a takeout because there was a buried stone, and if she ended up hitting that guard, that would go back, right? So
yeah,
Nova Scotia trying to respond here. A slight chop off for Kim Bonneau leaves this rock open enough for a slight tap back, perhaps, a little tap and roll.
Yeah.
And this rock seems to just slightly be over curling, just a touch light, but does the job.
Not a bad shot, no.
So while they didn't remove that red stone from play, that yellow stone from play, 2 reds behind that corner guard.
Mm-hmm.
The danger lights are flashing here for Alberta as they take a look at the situation. Kim Bonneau here with looks to be a very solid delivery as she slides out.
Mm-hmm.
Just going to feather that guard just to the edge of the guard zone and remove her own and roll out.
Ooh. Little unfortunate break there to get their own.
So a partial mission accomplished there for Kim Bonneau, I would say, moving that guard to the edge of the guard zone. Still might be able to hide behind it if you're Nova Scotia. Couple rocks in the rings here for Nova Scotia, so I would say advantage Nova Scotia right now early in this end.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia second, Cassidy Curry here. Playing the hit on the yellow rock, trying to make a curl. Was there an alternative option there, Brad?
Yeah, I kind of thought so. I was thinking maybe even just draw around that wide corner. You don't. I mean, it's pretty early in the end. I don't think you need to worry about that back 4 yellow now.
So drawing around the corner to kind of trying to generate more offense was one call.
Yeah.
Any other call you would have considered playing there?
I mean, freeze the yellow, draw to the other side.
Alberta's response is to attempt, I believe, a double or a nose hit there, just kind of caught in between. Going to roll out and actually leave that red rock buried behind that corner guard that you just talked about. So, in essence, Alberta doing Nova Scotia's job for them a little bit there on that one.
Yeah.
So,
now Nova Scotia electing to hit and roll to the open side.
Attempting to sit 2 here. Midway through this 5th end. Nicely done. Nose hit.
Nice shot.
Sitting 2 level across that tee line as we head into 3rd second stones. You see some of the Alberta fans back there enjoying a nice brisk bevy on this fine day. Brad, how are you finding the temperature out here? Are you cold or in this booth on the ice? What do you think?
Not cold at all. How about you?
I'm a little chilly, but I know you like things a little colder.
No, it feels like room temperature in here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I quite like it.
Yeah, there you go. Nice nose hit being played there by Quinn Perdaniak for Alberta. It's going to hit and stick right there. Perhaps generating a future double opportunity for her skip. So much of, I think, of what we're seeing out here is the importance of making those simple shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Making
a nose hit when it's called, getting a draw into the...
Yeah, if you can make those simple shots early, it can often lead to difficult shots for the other team later in the end.
As Nova Scotia 3rd. Taylor Stevens just over curling slightly, or was that an undercurl? I missed the...
That was an undercurl.
Undercurled, sorry, it was an outturn. Undercurled that one and just rolling out of the rings. So
yeah,
Alberta with that buried rock behind the corner guard electing to play, looks to be a freeze.
Looks like it.
Doesn't look there's much of access to that rock back there on the tee line, so they're going to try to cancel that one out by coming down to it.
Yeah, looks like they could, if they wanted, play a back liner and just tap it out as well. It's possible that's what they are playing. It's hard to tell with the ice here.
Julia Bakos throwing her first rock of this 5th end. Outturn freeze. Sweepers are on it early.
Looks like
Looks to be light.
Yeah, a little bit light.
A little bit tight, a little bit light. Just going to chop off of that Jugo Juice corner guard and roll to a corner guard, potentially half exposing that back red rock on the 12-foot there.
Mm-hmm.
So Nova Scotia here not taking much time in making their decision. They know what they want to do here. They want to try to come around that corner guard and sit 2.
Absolutely. Put a little pressure on Alberta. You make this good. Alberta's got a tough shot to hold them to 2 or 1.
So Callie Moore here, an aspiring sports journalist, throwing her first rock of the 5th end. Playing the out-turn draw. Got a bit of room.
Sweepers are calling it a little heavy. Off the whole way. It's not a good sign.
Might settle in here. It's still carrying some steam as Quinn Perdaniak tries to sweep it out of the rings, but it's going to hang on the back 12-foot. A big difference between whether or not that gets in, stays in the rings or not, Brad, don't you think?
Yeah. Sweepers did a good job there to not lay a brush to that the whole way.
So much of the glory they talk about when you watch sweepers sweeping is the decision the amount they sweep at the end of the shot to make the shot and how powerful they are. But it's so much more than that, isn't it, Brad?
Yeah. Well, if they had cleaned that early, that's through the house. So it's a good job on the sweepers there to stay off that the whole way.
So the weight judgment on that shot really, really key to the potential success of this end for Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
One of the unique things as we watch a little bit of action across those sheets there, that you see all these different teams have their own brooms made by different broom manufacturers that have their own home province printed on it. Isn't that such a unique thing, Brad?
Oh yeah, that's cool. I remember when I got that for the first time, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool to see that.
Unpack that box and then put those brooms together.
See those Alberta brooms there.
So Julia Bakos eyeing up this final rock of the 5th end. Needs to curl, it looks like. Sweepers are holding off of it.
Close.
Close to the one. Going to catch it a little thick and roll just out of the rings. So it will look to be a open draw to the rings for Nova Scotia to knot this game up at 3, Brad.
Yeah.
So despite not necessarily having the most of the play in the last few ends, just takes one miss, one small error and a glimpse for Nova Scotia to make a few, stack a few together.
Here you go.
One miss and a few makes, and they're turning this thing around after the 5th end break. So pretty key to make this one as they head into the end of this end. So Callie Moore seemingly placing the broom in the same position, so should have a good idea of how to throw this next rock based on her first one.
Yeah, she just threw it, so she'd have a great idea of the weight. And
sweepers are reacting the opposite way to this one.
This time it looks a little bit light.
Gonna have to work on it. Sweepers are working hard.
Time says
Curry and Fitzgerald here.
Just top 12.
Brad's projection comes true. Powerful sweepers get it there into the top 12. A deuce for Nova Scotia to knot things up at 3 here after 5. Wonderful shot. Wonderful sweep there by the front end.
Yeah. Yeah. Great sweep.
So pretty unique, Brad, here to see players on this sheet. We have on one end a player who is in grade 10 in high school, and on the other end we have a player in first-year university. So what a unique experience for them to be playing at this event.
Yeah, very cool.
3-3. So heading into the end of this sort of initial round robin, both of these teams are pretty close in the standings, and I should think this is a real key matchup for both teams heading into trying to get into that championship pool the second half of this week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big game. I mean, every game at these types of events is big for sure, and as you get closer to playoffs, they just get bigger and bigger.
So these teams obviously probably trying to build and make slight improvements as they work through the week, and we've definitely seen a number of really strong shots from both teams.
Yeah, it's been a well-played game so far.
Nova Scotia's first going to be thrown into the rings here.
I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. Looks like they're trying to. I thought maybe they were trying to throw a tight guard there, but slipped in.
So both of these teams, I would imagine, having played a full year of the 5-rock rule, have probably developed a bit of a plan as to how they would maybe approach the game in different scenarios based on the scoreboard, the end, and who has hammer, wouldn't you think?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think based on the score and, yeah, the end and the hammer, like you said. And where, yeah, they have a plan for how to react based on certain shots. They might even have a playbook, some of these teams.
So that's definitely one of those things that that can be such a challenge out here for anyone, is just the different possibilities and the way that you can approach an end and the different choices you have to make. These players out here seemingly doing quite a good job of leaving themselves room to operate in each end. So,
yeah, it's always good to be on the same page as a team, especially starting off the end.
So as our Nova Scotia and Alberta teams here playing the sixth end, again, a bit of a tradesy situation. Trading those top rocks for a few hits. Very
Alberta playing the delayed corner now.
So this is a play you probably haven't seen before, but that idea that you have an extra guard to throw with the hammer, you hadn't seen before this year without the 5-rock rule.
Oh, yeah. You had seen it a little bit with, like, I mean, I remember Kelly Scott, I think, started that back in the Scotties when she was winning them. But it's a little bit different with the 4-rock rule.
Because you can't hit that guard.
Because now you could peel it if it's the 4-rock. So with the 5-rock, it becomes a lot more of a viable option.
So it's so interesting to me how a small thing like that can make a big difference for a team. The way they approach a specific situation, the rock placement that they might have in a given scenario. Kelly Scott made a lot of hay with that approach when she was doing that. She put a lot of teams in a spot where they maybe didn't know how to respond and had some great success with it. So
I think, yeah, for sure.
One little glimpse, you see a similar kind of approach with Team Ontario and Lisa Weagle being able to play the Weagle tick, and how that changed the game for that team, and so many teams that were playing against it didn't necessarily know what to do.
Now I see a lot of teams kind of copying that, and it works well for sure.
So Nova Scotia here putting 2 rocks into the middle, trying to bring play down to that one single scoring area in the middle of the sheet. Julia Bakos here recognizing a little bit of danger, calling the out-turn hit for Kim Bonneau as it travels towards the house. Trying to make the hit and roll. It looks like maybe a double.
I believe so.
Double is made. We got a food delivery here into the booth here. Some jubes. Nice shot by Kim Bonneau. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, the challenge has been put upon us to talk with jubes in our mouths, so somebody heard about our snack talk and took it as inspiration. It looks like one of the volunteers here brought us some jubes.
Very nice.
So Nova Scotia here calling the out-turn draw around that tight yellow rock. Alberta having made that double and sitting with 2 guards, sort of one off center, just with the other one in the corner.
Yeah, very nice shot there.
Very nice shot by Nova Scotia. So actually, Brad, I had the pleasure of being in Nova Scotia this year on Cape Breton Island for the Scotties. It was wonderful to see the competition there, and what a wonderful province that is, and what wonderful hosts they were for that event.
Yeah, I bet. Who are you watching there?
Oh, yes, you might know my fiancée Sarah Wilkes was playing with team.
I think I know her.
Team Alberta. Sarah being a former teammate of both mine and Brad's in mixed curling as well. Chelsea Carey and her team of Sarah Wilkes, Dana Ferguson, and Rochelle Brown having an excellent week there and finding a way in that final game.
Yeah. Just shows the importance of never giving up.
Absolutely. So while it might feel like you're down and out on certain scoreboards, there's always hope as long as you've got rocks left in your hands.
Yeah, there's always a chance.
So Nova Scotia attempting the out-turn draw around the off-center guard here, trying to replicate the shot that was just made by Cassidy. Oh, no, I apologize. This is Cassidy again throwing. No, this is Taylor here, trying to replicate the shot made by Cassidy. Cassidy, a shot ago. And looks like she put it right back where it was before. A little bit deeper. Julia taking that as the green light to maybe make the freeze here around that off-center guard, trying to generate some offense.
Yep. Another good call.
This end very much hanging in the balance. Quinn Perdaniak here, playing the out-turn draw. Front end here, kind of off and on, trying to get it to curl a little bit, it looks like.
Looks a little light. Pretty good shot, though.
The team with the hammer here, especially as the rocks get away from the center line, they don't mind rocks behind the tee line, do they?
No.
So the attempted freeze there, not so bad as long as you're in front of it, I would think. Coming up a little bit light there doesn't hurt them as so long as they're shot.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the byproducts I would suggest in this situation for Alberta, though, is that they've kind of closed down their scoring area. Right? So we have 2 rocks in the 4-foot, one of those being a red rock. So if it was the last shot at the end, they're probably only going to have a draw to the full 4-foot. Something to be considerate of as we head into the end of this end.
It is a little bit later in the end, at least. I think if they had done this on their seconds rock, it could have been a little bit too early, but they at least waited till thirds to start closing down the 4-foot a bit.
So this idea of kind of trying to generate offense at the right time of the end is something that probably important to consider, you're suggesting.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So out-turn draw just slightly over curling. It looks like maybe just slightly heavy, just slightly missed by Nova Scotia. And Alberta is attempting to respond with a hit and roll, maybe they make the double as well.
Yeah.
Waiting for this rock to curl a little bit. Looks to be a little bit outside. It's going to
curl up a hair.
Just jam on that back one. And it's going to roll just to the back 4. Looks to be Alberta sitting 1 top of the 4-foot. Brad giving up on the Jube Jube challenge. He has muted his mic, so I'm flying solo here as he downs his Jube Jubes. So we have to feed Brad. He doesn't function very well if he's not well fed. So an important break for our fellow commentator here in the box. Brad's been known to have a few snacks, wake up in the middle of the night for a grab of some popcorn just to keep him going. When you work as hard as somebody like Brad does, that's part of the job, I guess.
Yeah.
Glad to have you back, Brad. Got that Jube Jube down as the...
Oh, yeah. That was a good Jube Jube.
Attempted out-turn.
Wonder what else they deliver here.
attempted out-turn tap back hit shot here coming into play.
Yeah, nice little hack waiter around the center.
Got to be careful here not to click on the guard. Looks like it's close. Looks like it's close. Just over curling, just clicking that guard in. Brad, your thoughts on the weight selection there?
I didn't mind the weight selection. What did you think? Did you disagree with that?
No, I think two things to consider on this specific shot. One, playing the out turn hit with more weight might make sure that whatever yellow rock you hit, you remove from play. True. Playing a little bit less weight, you have the chance of maybe clicking that yellow rock just in front of the house. True. Into the rings, but the weight they played allowed for the rock they throw to stick around and to sit second. Yeah. To sit third, which I think matters a lot in this end.
Yeah, for sure.
So Alberta electing to call a timeout, bringing out Coach Blair Lenton, longtime coach here in Alberta, to provide some advice to his players as to maybe what to play here. Brad, your thoughts for Alberta here in this scenario? How do you generate some points without giving up too much potential to give up an opportunity for your opponent to force you or steal from you?
Yeah, well, you got a few options here. You could try and you could hit and roll the center red and roll away, try and group them on the outside there a bit. It looks like right now, they're thinking about rolling to the middle with the outside one, which is another good call. That way, maybe on your last, you might have a double to get that biter in play at the end. Of course, there's always the risk of rolling in, then you leave Nova Scotia with the double back.
So despite the fact that there's only 3 or 4 rocks in the rings and a lot to consider here, Brad, like lots of suggestions that you had, and I'm not sure you're quite settled on what you would suggest for these players to play here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the best call is here.
But you're
I don't mind this call, though, for sure. Definitely don't mind this call.
So Julia Bakos here settling in for her out-turn hit. It looks like she's trying to hit and roll to the middle, to group the stones together a little bit. There's a chance she might be able to bring that outside yellow into score at some point. So I think it's a smart decision to play a hit here.
Oh, yeah. I agree, Alberta. For sure, yeah.
So a fair bit of consequences here with only one lonely red in the rings. A fair bit of consequences here for Nova Scotia if this last shot is missed. So.
Yeah.
So Callie Moore sliding down for her final stone.
Tough shot here.
Of this 6th end, a crucial end.
Yeah, tough shot. You got to make sure you stick your shooter, but you also got to make sure you don't jam it on that red. So you have to err a bit on being a little bit wide here. Tough shot.
Callie Moore. Good solid weight coming down. Slightly back on release here. Sweepers are holding up on it.
Really got to curl.
Needs to curl. Oh dear, she has just undercurled that and removed her own stone, which will leave Alberta with a open draw to the house for 4. Quite the swing here in this 6th end.
Wow.
I think, Brad, maybe in that scenario, Callie Moore was trying to guard a little bit against overcurling and jamming that back one, and perhaps
I think
slightly overdid it a little bit there.
I think so. Maybe thinking about the negative outcome a little bit too much.
So it seems to me sometimes, and we saw this earlier in the game with Julia, sometimes you make one adjustment to try to make sure of something, like to make sure that you're on the outside of that rock. You might give it a little more broom. You might be a little bit more back on your release, and you might also throw just a little bit extra weight. And in that case, it looked like that was the case for Skip Callie Moore.
Yeah.
Julia trying to capitalize here with her last stone for Team Alberta. The sweepers are
right off.
No. Ooh. We're close to it, but it looks to be that they just clicked off that top 4-foot rock.
Yeah.
4 for Team Alberta. and a big 4-point lead after 6. Brad, with the 5-rock rule, however, we see so many opportunities as we just watched this final stone for Nova Scotia under curl, and Callie staying pretty composed after that miss.
Yeah.
The one thing about the 5-rock rule I was just about to mention is that lots of scoring opportunities still at play.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the great thing about the 5-rock. You know that you're really never out of it. You always have the opportunity to generate offense. So like with the 4-rock, it was always a little bit more difficult, but now with the 5-rock, you're always going to get your 2 corners if you want them, and it's likely that there's going to be rocks in play and you're going to be able to generate offense as long as you make your shots.
So if you're Nova Scotia here in this scenario, I think a really good perspective to have about the situation is, well, hey, our opponents just scored 4. Why not us now?
Exactly, yeah.
Right, we saw that end kind of take a bit of a turn late in the end. Not too many rocks in play until later in the end, and opportunity capitalized upon for Alberta.
Yeah.
Rock is just going to drift into the back 4-foot.
Yeah, I mean, just go out there and just try and make your shots this end. Don't worry about what happened last end.
Yeah, it's certainly out of your control now.
Yeah.
Make 8 good ones here, and certainly just make this next one.
Yeah, just make your shots and see what happens.
I've had the pleasure of going to school with Kevin Cooey's coach, Kevin Cooey is currently at the Men's Worlds in Lethbridge, down in southern Alberta there. Lots of events going on in Alberta. I hate to bring this up, Brad. I know you just lost to them not long ago, but
oh, that's okay. I'm over it.
John Dunn being a mental trainer, having worked with Kevin Cooey a number of years, there's some things that he says to his team to suggest how to have a present focus. One of them that I was hearing Mark Kennedy talk about the other day when he played with them was this idea of being where your feet are, being present in the moment.
Yeah.
Definitely something that can be hard to do at times.
Absolutely,
as an athlete when you're thinking about maybe if you're in Alberta's shoes here, well, wouldn't this be nice if and when we can seal the deal in this game? You're starting to think about the prospect of winning because you have a lead potentially.
Yeah.
And if you're Nova Scotia, maybe thinking about ruminating upon that last shot a few ends ago.
Yeah.
So important to stay present in the moment, like you were saying.
Absolutely. Just go end by end. I mean, that's something that was drilled into our heads by our coach that we had over the years. Just take it an end at a time, and you don't have to worry about what happened before, and don't worry about what the outcome will be. Just go out there and try and figure out the ice and make your shots and sweep the rocks.
Take care of what's important now.
Take care of what you can control, and don't worry about what you can't control. So set up here for Nova Scotia, trying to get a few guards into play. Have stacked 2 on the left-hand side. Couple off the center line there. Opportunity for offense. Mm-hmm.
The response here from Alberta to throw a few into the middle, trying to narrow down that one scoring area.
Yeah. Well, it's a good play.
Both Kate Fitzgerald and Juliana McKenzie making good on their 4 attempts there. So it looks to me like that idea of staying in the present and making the next one has been done quite well by both of these teams.
Yeah. 2 good corners from Nova Scotia to set up the end, and
Alberta's second stone drifting into the top 4-foot. 3 rocks kind of grouped close to or in the 4-foot. Nova Scotia recognizing, hey, maybe we got to take care of these, even though we're down 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
We're going to have to do something with these at some point. Any other suggestions here, Brad? If you're in this scenario, you're trying to generate offense, you're down 4, what could you also play?
Well, I mean, there's a few options. You could draw right around the corner and ignore them. that could be a little bit risky. The shot they called, I don't mind at all. Just trying to hit and roll to the behind the corner.
So a nice hit and kind of rolled both rocks towards the center there.
Yeah.
For Nova Scotia. My one suggestion in this scenario might be to try to tap rocks around a little bit, keep more rocks in play. If you're Nova Scotia right now, down 4, rocks in play are probably your friends.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't really need to throw a ton of weight at these shots. Maybe just tap them around, throw backline weight, kind of put rocks in places where you can freeze to them. And
so Alberta Sorry, Brad. Alberta electing to peel the corner guard, just actually rolling to the other side there. So now 2 corner guards for Nova Scotia to make use of. Do you think now is a good time for them to maybe attack?
Yeah, I think so. It's a good situation. I would draw right now. You don't need to worry about those 2 yellows in the house. Just ignore them and draw around.
Cassidy Curry doing just that.
You have to take a little bit of risk at this point, being down 4.
Absolutely. Cassidy Curry attempting the outturn draw as suggested here up in the booth by Bradley Thiessen. Looks to be curling quite a bit. The sweepers are close.
Looks like I think they might have called the tap.
The tap or the split, perhaps, trying to get one or both of these rocks into the rings. Going to tap and roll just in front of their own red. The way Julia's reacting, calling the hit on the outside one, it looks like it actually accomplished the job to some degree, tapping that tight corner into the rings.
I don't know if they tapped it in, but it's close.
Interesting call if that's the case.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting call because it didn't look like they tapped that in.
Quinn Perdaniak here trying to make the hit. Jumbles those rocks around a little bit in the forefoot and rolls out.
Still got rid of a red, so that's not an awful result.
Gets the job.
Unlocked the red off that top 4 yellow a bit as well.
Partially done, and maybe a little bit easier to get rid of both of those reds or the red that was sitting in there before.
Yeah.
Now. Taylor Stevens, the first third stone here, being called upon to make a short, lightweight run back.
Yeah, looks like it. Looks like
nose hit on their own stone, trying to remove that back yellow one to try to bring some of her red rocks into play here. Sweepers are hanging tight on this one, waiting. Now we're trying to see if we can make a curl. It's going to slightly under curl and just click off their own. Brad, I think another example of one of those things we talked about where looked to me like a pretty well thrown rock, but maybe playing just a little bit less weight on that shot would.
Absolutely. You could play hack to back line on that. And if you hit the same spot of that red with back line, at least you're sticking both your shooters around.
So a lot of the decisions to be made out here for these players, not only the shot they're calling, but the approach to it, the weight they're playing at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not easy out here, is it? It's a lot easier up here in the booth as we watch it, making some suggestions and observing.
Yeah. I've never missed a shot from up here.
Never missed a shot from up here, that's right. Alberta trying to capitalize and remove this red rock on the top 4 and just managed to do that. Nice shot by Quinn Perdaniak as she removes the red, leaving a slight pocket back there at the back of the 8-foot.
Left a perfect pocket for red to draw into if they want to.
So as the team playing offense here in this scenario, do you think Nova Scotia's kind of looking where are some spots that we could put rocks that we can create some scoring opportunities?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So where do you think they are right now, Brad? Just like taking a look at this format. Looks to me like they're coming around a corner guard. Would that be one of them?
Oh, yeah.
And then
I mean, the 2 options are either to freeze the pocket or go around this corner.
So Nova Scotia very astutely calling the come around the corner guard. Doesn't look like they need to get by guards by too close a margin because of how much curl they're seeing in the ice. With that rock buried just about perfectly from our vantage point for a right-handed player.
Absolutely. Great shot.
Behind the
And
corner
if anything,
guard.
it's peeking out on the outside, which is perfect because if they try and hit the outside of that red, it's going right into those yellows.
Okay, so
yeah.
well executed bounce back shot by Nova Scotia there. And the third, Taylor Stevens, a wonderful shot after missing that first one just on the slight undercurl.
Yeah.
So really great to see not only bouncing back this end for them, but bouncing back within this end.
Yeah.
So Bradley, at this complex, the Glen Allen Recreation Center, we're seeing two different rinks, the curling rink being utilized and then this hockey rink that we're in. So it's wonderful to see, I believe it's either 9 or 10 sheets being utilized across this event. So really quite the undertaking for them to put into place here at the championships. Julia playing the out-turn run back. What a shot. Sticks it behind the guard.
Too.
That is quite the shot from Julia Bakos, and the Alberta fans are letting her know.
I thought she was just playing the straight peel.
Perhaps she was. We'll never know. But
Yeah.
What a wonderful shot by the team there to make that and to sit buried behind it is the bonus, the icing on the cake. That's a tough shot to make. Well done.
Yeah, that just takes the wind right out of Nova Scotia's sails.
Nova Scotia, though, as we talked about, still with the opportunity here to put some pressure on and put a rock into the forefoot and utilize that second scoring area that we discussed before, that back pocket.
Still an okay opportunity to get it deuce here.
The sweepers are off this right now, kind of hanging tight. It's looking pretty close. Maybe needs a little bit of weight behind it. They had to wait. They felt the line was a little bit wide. They sweep it hard. Fitzgerald and Curry bringing this into the top of the button. Slightly over curls. Not the easiest rock to get rid of, but it looks to be like there's a lane for Bakos to hit this rock through.
For sure.
It seems, Brad, that anytime one of these two teams has made a really excellent shot, the other team has really done a good job of following up and making one themselves.
Yeah.
We've definitely seen a string of good shots from both teams.
Yeah. No, it's been a well-executed game.
Julia here playing the in-turn draw, trying to hit about a half a stone, and she does
nice
just
shot.
that. So looks to be the team from Nova Scotia here is going to be having to settle for their 1 point and are going to have to get creative coming home in the last 10 down 3.
Yeah.
Assuming this last one is made.
Luckily, I think it looks like she does probably have a little bit of backing there with those 2 yellows.
So a similar.
She also just threw it. So
a similar throw here will get the job done as.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia skip. Callie Moore settles into the hack and throws her final stone of this 7th end. Sweepers are
right off.
Holding tight. Gonna need this rock to curl.
Looks okay, I think.
Starting to catch the curl. Sweeping for curl here. Laid onto the shot. Just needs a grab of the forefoot. Looks like it's just going to chop off and roll too far, and it's going to be a steal of 2 for Nova Scotia and a 6-point lead, I'm sorry.
6 point, yeah.
And that will be ball game.
That's it.
That is all she wrote here today, Brad, on sheet C in our feature game between Nova Scotia and Alberta 2.
Yes.
As the teams shake hands. Brad, any final words on this game? Any final thoughts about the game as a whole?
I mean, congrats to Alberta for winning. Well played game. both teams played well, and it was very entertaining to watch.
Just a few missed shots and a few makes were the difference in this game.
Just a few shots here and there, and that's the difference.
A very tightly played game, 3-3 heading into that sixth end. And one slight miscue from Nova Scotia, leaving Alberta with the opportunity to break the game open. So that will be all from us today here from beautiful Sherwood Park, Alberta, in the Glen Allen Recreation Center. Thank you for tuning in to listen, and enjoy the rest of the week and heading into the weekend as you tune in for more games at the U-18 National Championships here in Sherwood Park. Thanks, Brad, for joining me today. And
thanks, Mick.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure, as always.
Bye for now, everyone.